Welcome to MarketTamer.com. We're going to discuss GLD today. We posted a trade on May 26th on GLD. The expectation was for it to stay below $100. And if we look at the chart, what we see is right after that trade was posted, right around here in May 26th, where I was anticipating a pullback would occur, the stock actually kept going higher, a couple of dollars higher here, before pulling back. But the advantage of it being in a reasonably similar position to where we place a trade is because it was a credit spread, time has actually eroded value on that position. Not only that, but what you'll often find is when the direction changes, the implied volatility gets sucked out of the options. For example, if we're looking at a stock going higher, 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 you'll usually find the call options are at a premium. As a stock turns around, the implied volatility diminishes on those options, and we can benefit from that. So that's exactly how we profited on this trade. Stock was going higher. We anticipated a pullback. It didn't happen right away, but nevertheless, the premium on those options was reasonably high. And once the stock did pull back and time took effect, we ended up nicely profitable. So with bid-ask spread, which is always somewhat unavoidable here, there's about 10 cents of bid-ask spread in terms of closing the short call and the long call, but ultimately that would leave the trade still nicely profitable, taking in 50 cents originally. We'd be closing it out for about 20, so taking about 30 cents off the table, which is really just a nice weekly trade, nothing too aggressive, not exceptionally profitable, but every 30-40 cents here or there is nice to put in the back pocket. So that's what we're going to look to do right now. We've seen the stock come back down to its 20-day moving average. There's always a possibility it continues lower, but we're not going to make a bet on that at this point in time. We also have a position down around the 90 level, which is a more bullish position. Essentially, we're betting on that level holding as support across this region here. We've got a 50-day moving average. We've got a Bollinger Band rising. But even if that level was broken, we're actually very, very comfortable, increasingly so, with holding gold. And we do believe that pullbacks are opportunities at this point to load up on gold rather than to offload gold. So at this point, we've got a position in place right around the 90 region. We're going to hold it. We've got our contingency exit plans in place if it does break that level. If it does not, our trade will end up profitable. And as we monitor GLD here, we're actually going to pay very close attention to what happens here next week. This is potentially a support area right around the 20-day moving average. If it breaks that, then we would definitely anticipate a pullback all the way to support. It's a very choppy stock, though. As you can see, it's not quite as smooth as an Apple or a Google, and so that makes it somewhat less predictable and somewhat more difficult to trade. So if you're trading it based on technicals, you're likely to run into slightly greater difficulties than if you were trading another stock that might have smoother patterns, such as Apple, such as Google, etc. Many other stocks follow much smoother patterns. With that said, because it's somewhat choppy, this trade that we'll be placing is going to be based more on fundamentals, and we've posted a number of videos on anticipation, expectation for inflation in the future. As a result, we're going to place this trade, or we already have actually looked at placing this trade as a fundamental bet, a macro level analysis rather than a technical analysis. So with all that said, we'll invite you to jump into classes if you have any questions on this. If you've not jumped into classes, I strongly encourage you to do so. You'll find some of the guys, Mark and Ron, are exceptionally talented, all having profited in 2008, as well as obviously the bull market, where most people usually stay above water. So please do come on in, ask us questions. We're here to help, and have a wonderful weekend.